Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Bolt City Podcast, a very special edition, one like you've never seen before. Looking forward to today's show for quite a while right now, and all I can say is I'm glad it's not me, Mario.
Yeah, up yours. Yeah, what are you gonna
Up
do?
yours.
I created a strategy for this. I told Josh this. I put some of the dogs they have different types of seasoning, so I won't get tired of the taste. So shout out St. Elmo's and Dave O's. Shout out to those seasonings. So it's a little spice, got a little kick to them, and that's the strategy going forward.
Okay, hold on. So for people who don't know, let's refresh a little bit. We pick
Yeah.
games every single week, okay? And as we pick our games, we decided, hey, let's put something on the bet. And as we decided to wager was the loser who picked the games the worst had to eat a hot dog every 5 minutes for this entire show. And so it ended up being after we tied 1 week that we fell through that Mario ended up losing and he now has to eat a hot dog every 5 minutes for the entirety of the show. I told you in the last show, I'm not going to be a jerk. I'm not going to stretch this show out just to watch Mario eat more and more hot dogs. But at the same time, whatever happens, happens. Okay. The rhythm of the show.
Eat.
So do we start?
You're behind.
All right.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, start with one.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
get the
one.
first one down, and then we're going to do another one right at 5.
All right, 5 minutes in. All right,
Who
who's
was
setting the
that?
timer? Is it me?
No,
Also-
the
also-
timer's right in the corner.
Yeah, the
Just
timer's
look
up
at the
at
timer.
top.
Every time it hits 5 minutes, we can see it. The audience can't see it.
All right.
I don't think, but we can see
I
it.
put a little too much cayenne pepper on.
We got to
that
yell
one.
out hot dog no matter what we're saying. Somebody has to yell that
Okay.
out. Okay. All right.
All right.
Are we
All
keeping
right. So
track
first topic. What do we got for today? What's on the dial?
All right. First of all, did you? Oh, wait a second. Did you just like down that hot dog, just throw it down your throat?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, show us the hot dog before you eat it. All right, because
What's the
okay,
next
just want
one?
to make sure. Okay, good deal. All right. So at 5,
cool.
we're gonna eat it. All right. Just so we.
Disclaimer. Two of them fell apart. So if you see two mini pieces, it's because two of them fell apart. And I didn't mean to do the balloons, but two of them did fall apart.
Okay.
This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. All right. So here we go. Let's get going football wise, because again, the Chargers are basically an organization people are talking about right now. And head coaches, of course, it all starts with Jim Harbaugh. Mike Vrabel, of course, at the same time was in Los Angeles talking to the Chargers. So right now, looking at the situation with the Chargers with Mike Vrabel and Jim Harbaugh, let me ask you a question. If you had to choose any coach, who would you choose as far as your pecking order?
Pecking order has to be Jim Harbaugh number one. I think everybody feels the same way. I can't tell when I'm on social media if this is a reliable source or not when I look at other people's accounts, but everybody and their mom is reporting that Jim Harbaugh is going to be the next coach of the Chargers, which makes me feel good because that's our number one choice as well. But today the Chargers interviewed Mike Vrabel, and it's kind of interesting because Mike Vrabel is a guy that, for me, I wouldn't mind if he was the coach of the Chargers. But I wonder if he does a good enough job where the Chargers really have to consider going with Mike Vrabel over Jim Harbaugh, or are they all set on having Jim Harbaugh as their next head coach if that's the way this thing goes?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, right? Like, what if Vrabel goes in and like kills it? Like, what if he goes in and it's everything they want, and he has this brilliant plan, and maybe he asks for less control than Harbaugh does, right? Like, I would say Harbaugh is more in play for him of what he could want and the power he wants. Where Vrabel's kind of like, yeah, you're a very good head coach, but you can't ask for all the keys to the kingdom as much as Harbaugh can. So I think if I'm Spanos, who, let's be honest, they don't really want to give up control. I look at that, Dave, and I go, I have one guy that's not as good as Harbaugh, but has seen a lot of success with a less roster than ours, and he's going to ask for a lot less control than Harbaugh would if he has a job.
Couldn't agree more on that right there. And when you say Spanish, you got to be clear. It's John. It's not Dean. Dean doesn't do anything. It really doesn't affect Dean one way or another. Dean's not giving whatever head coach is coming in part ownership. He's saying, I want you to fix the organization. I want to start winning games. I want to be a Super Bowl contender. That's all Dean cares about. And that's what we care about as fans. Now, John is the one. He's the youngest son. He has two sons that work in the front office. It's his youngest son, the one that's, basically very involved in the roster of the Los Angeles Chargers. If I'm John, let's be honest. If I'm John, Mike Vrabel is my choice because it gives me the position to still have power to show everybody how smart I am. If I'm John, it is very tough for me as a young person to go, Jim Harbaugh's the guy, and I'm going to just sit back and basically do nothing but watch the games and put on the new gear. Dog. That's dog number 2. Okay. Okay, I'm just keeping track. Let people know what's going on. So, by the way, if you feel sick, let us know. So when you look at
Champions
that,
don't get sick, son.
who doesn't get sick?
Champions. I'm gonna make sure I don't chew into the mic.
Yeah, Michael Jordan had his best day when he was sick, and he's a champion.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know. That's why I said it.
Yeah.
So overall, going back to the start, say focused on this. I think that they're going to have a split decision when it comes to deciding who's their guy. Now, most people will say you're crazy to pick Vrabel over Harbaugh, but I'm with Josh. If he was the coach, I'm not going to be hurt. If Harbaugh is the coach, my first choice still, he has proven he can win 70% of his games in the NFL, and that was with Colin Kaepernick and Alex Smith. That's not Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert's a superstar compared to those two goofs. So there's a reason why he wants to come here. Now he did interview, meaning Jim Harbaugh, with Atlanta Falcons. Falcons so far have interviewed, as we know, Bill Belichick twice and Jim Harbaugh once. And I'm just going to ask the question, guys. I know we're going to kind of jump around a little bit. It's so distracting watching Mario eat hot dogs. But if you're the Falcons, Josh, okay, what question are you asking Bill Belichick? I mean, seriously. I mean, it's almost like the most embarrassing, patronizing thing of all time to ask the greatest coach in the history of the NFL, what can you do for us? Like, what do you know, what have you done? What's your name? And what are your plans? It's embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. It's embarrassing on a few different fronts. It's like the movie Step Brothers, right? Like, we're going to do the interview now. Like, we're going to interview you.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah,
Bill
that's
Belichick,
true.
basically the Falcons. Like, I am the NFL. You're definitely not. The most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to your franchise is because of me. It's just a whole weird thing going on there. If Bill Belichick was the coach of the Falcons, I'd be shocked because that team is just not very good. Maybe he feels like they're a piece away from being good, which some people do believe that. If the Falcons did have a decent quarterback, they could be a contender. I don't feel that way about them at all, but maybe Bill Belichick feels that way. And then I really did think he was going to go to the Cowboys. I think all of us felt that McCarthy is going to be out. I feel like it's going to be inevitable that McCarthy's going to get fired soon. I mean, you have to win playoff games, but I thought he's going to be the next Cowboys coach. Who knows, though? Bill Belichick, I thought was going to be in play for the Chargers as well. It seems like it's not going to be his job at all. It's going to be between Harbaugh and just Harbaugh at this point. But I don't think he's going to go to the Falcons. Do you actually think he's going to go to the Falcons? To me, he's like an East Coast guy. Like Bill Belichick is the East Coast. I can't imagine him down in the South hanging out with 2 Chainz and T.I.
They don't take vacations together.
I'm fascinated by this entire offseason of coaches. I mean, so we're gonna go around on this a little bit today. What do you think, Bill Belichick? Do you see him with the Falcons?
Like, not even a little bit. And like you mentioned it, Josh, everyone sees Falcons as this like one piece away. What the hell made people think they're that? Like, because they have Drake London, Pitts, and Robinson. How did that look this past year? Were they really a quarterback away? Is that defense really a quarterback away? Is that what we're gonna think here? Also, Belichick, have we not learned anything? He needs an established QB. Like his days of the early 2000s when he had young Brady and an amazing defense are clearly gone and they're past them. He needs something established like a Herbert. I mentioned that before. So it makes no sense to me. Who are you going to bring in? If you bring in Belichick, I'm going to imagine you trade for Fields. Like that's got to be the plan because there's no way in hell. I don't know why that thumbs up even came up, but there's no way in hell that you would want to draft a guy with that. And the Falcons are going to have to trade up if they want to draft a guy. They don't have a good enough pick to get who they want at QB. It makes zero sense to me besides making the good joke. Oh yeah, 28-3. That's all. That's the only thing that makes sense about this is the 28-3 joke. Everything else, I think Bill's drunk.
I don't know if Bill has a lot of offers. So it's funny when you look at your position as an NFL team or any team in any sport, you always say, how can we get better? Right? You look at the roster and you go, how can we get better? Every NFL team should be looking at their head coach going, is there a guy that's open, available right now that is better than the coach that we currently have? And let's be honest, Bill Belichick, as goofy as he is as far as a GM, he's still considered a great coach, the greatest coach of all time. Like they should rename the Lombardi Trophy the Bill Belichick Trophy. He's won so many titles, they should rename it. I'm all for renaming that trophy anytime somebody passes the record whoever has the most Super Bowls. But at the same time, is he the best option for
Dog?
Dog. He has is he the best option? I'm writing this down. Is he the best option for the Falcons? Is he the best option for the Titans? Dude, is he a better option in Philadelphia? Let's be honest. Should the Eagles fire Sirianni and bring in Belichick? Is he the best option at a lot of different places? And the answer is yes, he is. He's the best option in a lot of places. And so when you sit there and you look at with the situation he's in, if you're a franchise, you have the greatest coach in the history of this game that probably has at least 3 more years to give to your franchise. Why wouldn't even better teams, even playoff teams, think about bringing him in?
I think it's because of the point you alluded to earlier about him wanting to be the GM. How much is he willing to give up? If you're the Falcons, you're really in a position where you say, dude, just do what you need to do. Like, our franchise isn't great. You're the greatest coach of all time. Do what you need to do. Even though you haven't proven to be a good GM as of late, maybe you can do a better job than what we've done. I do think that Falcons team isn't terrible. Mario did point out some of the players on that team that are young, that are good. I still don't think they're a piece away. Do you think Justin Fields is going to go down to Atlanta, where he's from, to be the quarterback there? I don't know. Even if he is, the Falcons aren't Super Bowl contenders. There's so many moving parts between all these coaches. I really thought Bill Belichick would be the best fit for the Titans because he has a house there. He's born there. But I don't understand what Bill Belichick's trying to prove, that he can win without Tom Brady. Well, good luck, dude, with the Tennessee Titans, and good luck with the Atlanta Falcons if that's what you're trying to prove. I wouldn't be surprised if he maybe sat out a year to try to find a better job, but I don't know if he just wants to keep going because he's old and he doesn't want to give up any years at this point. But I'm not really sure what Bill Belichick's trying to prove. If the Patriots were better this year, maybe he just rides off into the sunset, but I know he's trying to catch that record. And obviously that's what he wants. But if you want a new head coach, you want a coach that wants to be there just to catch his own record? Or do you want a coach that's going to be there for the long haul that's trying to turn the thing around?
I think the only attractive thing about the Falcons too is that division, right? Like the division's not very good. Todd Bowles just won it. And we can all agree he's not the best coach with Baker Mayfield. So I think that's like maybe the only thing that entices him is like, look, I don't have to be perfect to win that division. I get my playoff spot. And then when we talk about Bill in 10 years, no one's going to bring up how weak that division is, right? No one brings up how weak it was during the Patriots kind of heyday. Like no one brings up how terrible the Bills Dolphins were before, Allen came, and what so have you. So I think Bill also sees that. But like to your point, Josh, like, do you want that as a fan base, a guy coming in that just wants to chase Shula? Like, do you really want that? Because he can get that. Like, he's not a bad enough coach where like he can get the 6 or 7 or whatever 8 wins he wants. But he's a rental. Like, he's not going to be around for a long time, like at all. He's in his 70s. He's going to be done after 3 years. And if you don't hit in this 3-year window, which I don't think the Falcons are even close to in this 3-year window, unless you get like a freaking Mahomes on their team, it doesn't make any sense, Dave. I don't think it makes any sense. It does make sense. You said it, Josh, to wait out a year. McCarthy's on his last year of his contract. He could be done. So that makes more sense to me of wait out a year. Jones can see what McCarthy does. If McCarthy doesn't get it done in the 4 years, then he's got the boot.
I could see Atlanta bringing him in for a variety of reasons. One is Arthur Blank's 81 years old. He owns the team, wants a fix. Why not bring in the big guy? Atlanta, say whatever you want about the city of Atlanta. It's a terrible sports town. People don't go to games. I mean, even as good as the Braves are, you don't see sellouts in playoff games. The Falcons don't exactly always draw. The Hawks don't draw for anything. And it's a terrible sports city. You're going to sell tickets if you bring in Belichick, but Belichick's there to win championships. As you guys mentioned, there are major pieces that are missing. I love the argument that, well, there they have a superstar tight end and a superstar running back, and they don't use Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is unproven as can be. I don't know if he's a superstar tight end, and that all the talk, he can run the same kind of offense if he brings in Josh McDaniels with him and ready to go and look like the Patriots. You don't have Tom Brady, you don't have that quarterback. There's no one on the market that can basically fit that role. I mean, my guess is the only veteran quarterback I can think of that would be available to them would be Joe Flacco. Are you going to tell me you're going to run Kyle Pitts with Joe Flacco is supposed to be the same as Gronkowski and Brady? It's not the same damn thing. What are you kidding me?
Throw it to him.
Yeah, but sitting out a year is kind of crazy to me because he's 72. I mean, how many years does he have left? I mean, 72 years old, for Christ's sake. So you look at the situation that he's in. If I'm a team, honestly, like the Eagles, dude, I got to point the finger at Sirianni and say, you lost this team. Like, we are fools to bring you back. If the Eagles continue to take a deep dive next year, that's all on the Eagles for blowing that. Say this is a great window of opportunity that you let dog again. It's always me when I'm talking. Just for the
God,
people at home,
fuck.
that's number 4. That's number 4. So when you're looking at that situation, the team that I thought honestly should have made a coaching change, and I mentioned on the last show, it was a no-brainer that Belichick I think would have been a good fit for too, because I think they're in disarray. The New Orleans Saints. How do you keep Dennis Allen? I don't know if you guys saw the GM Mickey Loomis get up at the podium and go through the first 4 years of like Chuck Noll and Tom Landry and all these Hall of Fame coaches and saying this is why he continues to get another shot. Dude, when you go through what he was with the Raiders, he was terrible there too as a head coach. Dennis Allen is not a good NFL head coach. If you're Bill Belichick, you have to be looking at New Orleans going, that division's the same division as the Falcons, but they have a little bit more talent. How the hell are they not calling me? Am I wrong?
Look, no, you're 100% right. There's a difference between head coaches and coordinators, and Dennis Allen is not a head coach, and I think everybody can see that he's not. And this is a horrible thing to say about a human being. He's not an alpha. He's not an alpha. I mean, how many of these coaches do you look at and you go, dude, this guy's on alpha? Brandon Staley is not an alpha. Brandon Staley walks in a room, and you don't even know if Brandon Staley's in the room. Mike Vrabel walks in the room, you're like, holy crap, that's Mike Vrabel right there.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a huge difference. This
Puts
is
in a
what Bill
wheelbarrow.
Belichick's looking at. He's looking at the NFC South, and you know what he sees? He sees the 2000s AFC East when it was easy pickings, and it was the Dolphins, the Bills, and the Jets, and they won the division over and over and over again. Difference is he doesn't have Tom Brady, and Mario hit it right on the head. If you think you can win in today's NFL without an elite quarterback, good luck, dude. It just does not happen. And Joe Flacco, you can make fun of him all you want. He'll throw the ball to Kyle Pitts. I had David Njoku on my fantasy team. He was awesome with Joe Flacco. So he's going to throw the ball there. Who knows if he's actually going to win games. But the real interesting thing to me, Mario, is that the Chargers brought in David Shaw, the former Stanford coach. At one point in time, David Shaw was Jim Harbaugh, where everybody wanted him. He could have coached in the NFL. He could have coached at pretty much any college. And now David Shaw's just a name. He's just a guy. Do you think the Chargers actually interviewed David Shaw for, it sounds horrible to say, for the Rooney Rule, or because they actually want to look at him as a viable option as their head coach?
It's tough because he did do it even with the Broncos last year, and like you said, I think there is definitely an attraction to him. Like he was a good coach for Stanford. Yes, he was on them at their highs, and then they kind of brought out to whatever Stanford football was, right? Like he took that program to as peak as it was ever going to get, and then as soon as it got lower, and that's just what it is. I think it was just one of those situations where he was let in, and everyone in that room knew he wasn't going to get the job. Like, I'm sorry, everyone knew. And I think that's what it was. I think for him to get an NFL job now, and Dave, you've been doing this for a very long time. Stop me if I'm wrong. I feel like he's kind of going to go into an offensive specialist role before offensive coordinator role, like something to kind of get you back in the mix to get an NFL head coaching job. I just fail to believe that a guy that coached college football who saw success, but that was a long time ago, who's been on his couch, is suddenly going to just spring up and take an NFL job. I just don't think that's going to happen. I just don't know if that's smart for any organization or himself to do career-wise. I just don't see that happening at all. And it sucks. It sucks for all the parties included. And I don't know. It's just one of those things, I guess.
He should honestly be, if he's interested in joining the NFL, he should be either a special analyst to the head coach, or something on the offense, whatever you want. But he's not a head coaching candidate anymore. I mean, look at the way he finished with Stanford. It was a disaster. And not only did the team stink, nobody was going to the games. He completely lost everything that people thought was great about him. The David Shaw thing has passed. 10 years ago, he could have had any job, just like Josh said, but it has changed dramatically as far as what's happening with him. It's interesting all the way around to watch where guys are going. But, I'll even say, Mario, when you look at the situation with, the Chicago Bears, who it looks like Caleb Williams is going to be the guy that they're going to draft. Like, Fields is going to not be a Bear. I mean, if you see everything that has happened today, that has transpired, if you're just tuning into NFL news, the Bears are doing everything they can to hire Cliff Kingsbury, who is very close to Caleb Williams and his family. and they're trying to make everything easy because Caleb Williams came out and said he doesn't want to go to the Bears, but they're trying to make it easy,
Rumor.
saying here's the transition.
Dog.
We're dog. Okay, rumor. That's a rumor, Dave, and you know it's
Just
rumor.
eat the dog and finish your statement.
It's a rumor.
Okay. Okay. Don't eat with your mouth full. I don't talk with your mouth full, I should say. So, but that's the talk, that the Raiders want him and that the Bears want him, and that both teams are willing to pay a lot of money for him. It's amazing how Cliff Kingsbury continues to fall up. I've never seen anything like it. He says that Caleb Williams is the best quarterback he's ever seen at this age, better than Mahomes, better than Kyler Murray, that he is the guy, and the Bears are going to have to pay money hand over fist to get him. But it looks like that's the way to go. And the reason it's a rumor, Mario, because it's true. He doesn't want to go to the Bears.
All right.
Yeah,
Go.
off.
What do you have to say about the Bears? What are you going to
No,
say?
it's a rumor. Listen, it is a rumor. I don't believe it. I put 0, 0, 0 faith in it. 0. Like -% into him not wanting to be a Bear. No chance. I'm sorry, just no chance. No chance. Because where do you want to go, buddy? You want to go to the Commanders? Sure. People can keep hyping up this Commanders job. Sure. You want to go to Commanders? Have fun, buddy. It's not gonna be fun. You want to go to the Pats? And throw to who? No, you're in Chicago. You have DJ Moore to throw to. You have Cole Kmet to throw to. Could get Brock Bowers later to get throw to. You have so many other people to throw to. Everyone needs to shut up about this rumor. Oh, he doesn't want to go to Chicago because Chicago's history of quarterback sucking. Dude, you played 2 good games. You're already better than Jay Cutler. You played 3 better games. People love you more than Jim McMahon, and he brought a freaking title to him. Like, it's Fugazi. That's Fugazi. David Palais.
What are you yelling at me? I didn't start the rumor.
Just saying.
I don't understand his mindset, because I understand that the Bears have not had like a good quarterback ever, but like Mario said, there is good targets over there, and don't say Cole Kmet like he's Travis Kelce. Don't do that.
Yeah,
like, it's
He's
Cole
not,
Kmet.
but he had a good year. I'm not a believer in him, but he had a good year.
Okay. So, yeah, like if I'm Caleb Williams, first off, it's already hard enough to play quarterback in the NFL. Like, why would you make it harder for yourself by coming out and saying this? Eli Manning did do this with the Chargers. So it's happened before. People have done this before.
John Elway did it.
But if I'm looking at Caleb Williams and I'm the Bears, I'm thinking, do you not like a challenge? Like, right here is a great challenge. It's a great big city, one of the best cities in the United States. We haven't had a great quarterback. You could be the first like great quarterback in Bears history. We could be a Pro Bowler all the time. Bears have never had that. Why wouldn't you want to take up that challenge? For me, I look at it as this guy's not a competitor. Am I crazy for thinking that? Because that's what it seems like to me, that Caleb Williams shies away from challenges. And Cliff Kingsbury, by the way, he's a great PR person for himself. I would keep hyping up Caleb Williams too, try to get myself a job. But Caleb Williams, to me, looks like he's not a competitor.
I don't disagree with anything you just said right there. Caleb Williams is a tremendous talent. I think he runs, again, from competition. He seems spoiled. He comes off really bad. Let's be honest, as you said, Chicago is a top city. I mean, number one, the fan base is outstanding. You know, it's one of the best cities to live in. They love their football. At the same time, there's a rich history. They haven't had the quarterback history. You could be that guy, the first big quarterback star the franchise has ever had. It's a win-win for him to put that on his list. You know, obviously the team he's trying to get to, Mario, he was trying to get to the Raiders. He wants to get to the Raiders and wants the Raiders to figure out a way to get him on that roster. That's what he wants. He wants to be in a controlled climate. He wants to play for a team where he doesn't have to worry about the weather. And again, it is tough to play in that division. I mean, it gets cold in Chicago. It gets cold in Green Bay. It gets, according to that lady, it gets really cold in Minnesota and Detroit. It's really tough to play in Detroit when you're on the road. It's freezing there. By the way, the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen from the media. But overall, when you look at the situation with Caleb Williams, if I'm the Bears, yes, I want him. I want him because everyone says he's the real deal. I don't like the fact that he asked for part ownership before he was even drafted, and I don't like the fact that he's playing the Eli Manning, John Elway card. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like that either. It's not the best. I'll hold my stock in Caleb Williams for as long as possible because everyone's selling it right now, and when people sell, I buy, baby. So I'll keep it, or when people sell, I buy. So I'll keep buying everyone's stock that they think Caleb Williams is this, Caleb Williams is that, is whatever. I'll see you in April.
Dog.
Dog.
It's number 6.
Yeah. Also, bad idea to put spicy seasoning on it. My throat's burning right now.
Yeah, I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know what you're thinking.
I like spice. By the way, what do you guys think of these GM interviews that they've had recently?
What did you say?
I'm sorry, that was disgusting. The recent interviews the Chargers have with these GMs, because there's one in particular that I can't believe they even talked to him, and it's Jeff Ireland. I can't believe they even had a conversation with that guy.
I didn't know Jeff Ireland was still had a chance.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh my
For-
gosh.
For people that don't know, look, Dave, I'm trying to you.
No,
Refresh the
no,
people.
you let's go. I find it entertaining that you're
All
sitting
right.
here eating these hot dogs. Go ahead.
So, for people that don't know, Jeff Ireland, some of his history, he's a GM for the Dolphins from 2008 to 2013. When people had like literally air balloons saying fire him. He did that bad. He did that bad in the Dolphins. He was also the person that asked Des Bryant if his mom was a prostitute. So that's that guy. So that's how good he does with signing players in free agency. During his tenure, the first year they went 11-5, and people thought he was a saint. Then after that, 7-9, 7-9, 6-10, 7-9, 8-8. He's been with the Saints since 2015, which is congrats. They have accomplished nothing since 2015. Couple playoff appearances, nice job, and you put yourself in cap hell. Congrats. You keep Dennis Allen. That's the organization come from. You keep Dennis Allen that we just talked about. He's not a good coach. He's not an alpha. I don't get how this guy would even sniff a job, and or why Josh, he deserves a second chance at running the Chargers or anywhere.
The Chargers interviews for head coaches make a lot of sense to me for the most part, where you go on Twitter and Instagram and you're like, okay, that makes sense. Like they interviewed that guy, seems like a good coach. The GM interviews to me the Chargers have conducted make zero sense. Like you're talking about this guy, talking about Ed Dodds from the Colts. Do the Colts have a good team? Like I no. And then you do have the Giants guy get up there. It's like, did the Giants have a good roster? No. How do you just picking these names out of a hat? How do you end up on these guys interviewing them? I don't understand, man. For me, honestly, and this is selfish as a fan, I just want Jim Harbaugh. And I know it's crazy. I know the GM's important. I know the offense coordinator is important. Defense coordinator is important. I just want Jim Harbaugh. Just announce the Jim Harbaugh news right now. I can't take it anymore. I refresh my phone every 5 minutes looking for Jim Harbaugh. That's the only thing I care about. The GM to me is extremely important, but Jim Harbaugh is the piece that matters most. I think Jim Harbaugh is going to have a huge say in whoever the GM is. So I really don't think you can hire a GM until you hire Jim Harbaugh.
All right. The reason you bring in a guy like Ireland is a guy that, my opinion, is that somebody that John Spanos thinks he can control. Look, you can't sit there and go down the same road that doesn't work. You know, I mean, come on, we all know it doesn't work. And so there's just a major issue. You have someone that's clogging up the front office and business decisions, and that's the owner's son that is messing this up right now. Either John says I can control a guy like Ireland, or Jim Harbaugh says I can control a guy like him. How important is the GM position? I think it's really important. I think if you give too much of it to the head coach, it's there's an issue too. You can't do both jobs. Those are two big time, full-time jobs. I mean, let's be honest. Being a head coach in the NFL is an 18-hour-a-day job. Being a GM in the NFL is about an 18-hour-a-day job. You have to know every single roster. You have to know exactly what guys are doing nonstop. It is a tough position. For guys to try and do it twice, you don't see guys have success doing it. That's where Bill Belichick, as good as he was, ran into trouble. You have to know other teams' rosters and which guys that you might either want to make a trade for, or guys you want to pull off their practice squad, whatever you want to do. It's you got to get the best guy. I find it interesting, even though the Patriots organization said they aren't going to hire a GM till after the draft. So you're going to let Jerome Mayo sit there and run that process? The Patriots are going to be a disaster for a long time. You have to have a GM that knows what he's doing and understands the entire rosters of every team in the league. It is not easy to do. We all like to do it sitting on our couch. It is not easy to do either one of those positions. I'm with Josh. I'm waiting for the Jim Harbaugh news. I will tell you this. if Jim Harbaugh is not the guy, my second choice would be Vrabel, and I wouldn't, flip over my computer and throw it against the wall. And Bill Belichick, I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't flip over my computer and throw it against the wall if they had a GM that
Dog.
dog. That's
Oh,
number
wow.
7 for the people keeping track at home. Is
Wow.
is the situation where I want to see this team moving in the right direction. The one thing I do like what the Chargers are doing, Josh and Mario, is that every time they bring somebody in, they're letting everybody know. They're trying to be relevant in the Los Angeles media, which isn't always easy to do, considering the Lakers are always the story, or the Dodgers with their rosters, start training in 3 weeks. That the Chargers are trying to let everyone know we're relevant.
Is that like a recent thing? Because they do
It's
post
recent.
every time they interview somebody. I've never
Yes.
seen that before, where teams are
It-
posting that. You feel like that'd be like secretive information you wouldn't want everybody to know.
yeah,
But are
but
they doing that just to make a point?
yeah, the Chargers are trying to stay in the news. I mean, I think it's genius. I think they should have been doing it for years, and the Chargers are trying to stay in the news. My question is, when they interview, let's say Mike Vrabel or Jim Harbaugh, where do those interviews take place? Do they take place at SoFi Stadium? Do they take place at their facility in Orange County? Like, I'm curious to know, what do you do to impress a coach that comes in to interview for the Chargers job?
Gotta be Orange County,
Yeah,
right?
I think it has to be a facility. Yeah, right. Don't you
They're
think Mike
building a
Vrabel
brand
would show
new.
up to SoFi and say, "Why are we at the Ram Stadium? What are we doing here?"
He's coached there before. I mean, it's impressive as hell. I'm sorry. I'm looking at Ford Field the other day, which I know in Detroit they love, and they've had a Super Bowl there. But I'm looking at it going, this is a dump. Like, Ford Field is a dump compared to SoFi. It is. SoFi is amazing. If you've never been inside of it, you've never seen anything like it. SoFi Stadium is really incredible.
You gotta do it at the facility, man. You can't. I wouldn't do it at SoFi. It's not even your stadium. You don't even own that stadium. It's the Ram Stadium. But I would do it in the facility. And is that how it works? Where they try to impress the head coach? Isn't Mike Vrabel the one that needs a team? He's interviewing
Yeah,
for the job.
yeah, but Vrabel, I think, is going to interview other places too. Like, I think people know he's a top coach. I think David Shaw, no offense, is interviewing in Orange County. But I think if I'm the Chargers, man, I'm doing the whole thing like you do when you recruit a big time college basketball player and you put his name up on the video board and it's spinning around and the whole deal, and going, hey, this, look how great this is. I'm doing everything I can to impress the top coaches.
Yeah, you're showing Mike Vrabel all the different customized vests you can wear with the Chargers.
Yeah.
We got this one in
Yeah.
light blue. We got this one in dark blue.
Look how good you look in Charger blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I had
He's
the
like,
same
I
colors
just
for the
wore light
Titans.
blue. And yeah, just wear the same colors.
I
He's like,
just had the
thanks.
exact same colors for the Titans. Thanks.
Take him to the best steakhouse, wine and dine him a little bit.
Take him over to Randy's Donuts, that big donut shop. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just
Yeah.
kind of curious. What do you do to impress these guys? I don't know if any of those guys would be impressed. Maybe it's just something that I would be impressed with. I'm going, this is pretty awesome.
I
What are you
think
gonna impress them
Harbaugh, you
with?
do an Oklahoma drill with him.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Both guys want contact. They want to be it. Yeah.
Yeah. But how do you impress a coach? Like if you're the Chargers, what do you say? We haven't
the
done
one thing the
anything ever.
Chargers, the one thing that, and then not making a joke, the one thing the Chargers do have, which is, I think, a question for a lot of people, because the Raiders used to always be known for having the worst facilities. Like, the practice field wasn't even a level playing surface. Like in the practice field, it'd have humps in it, and the hill. It was ridiculous. But the Chargers are building that state of the art practice facility that's supposed to be like the nicest in the NFL. To say, look, anything you possibly need to help you win, we have it. And I think if you're the Chargers, you're showing this is why you come here. We are going to give you everything you possibly need to win.
Okay, let me ask you a question. If you're a coach interviewing for the job with the Chargers, what questions would you ask them back? One of the questions I would ask is, why do your players get hurt every year? A bunch of them, a lot of them. Why does that happen? Wouldn't that be a question you'd ask? What kind of training staff and support do you have here for your players? Because you are always hurt. Second question would be, does Justin Herbert actually want to be here? Is he going to leave? If I come in, is he actually going to want to be on the way out? I would ask, am I going to have control of this team? Or I've heard that John Spanos is the one that really controls this team. Wouldn't those be some of the questions you'd ask back to the Chargers?
Yeah, but I imagine Herbert's in on the conversation too, right? Like, I can't imagine that Herbert's not either in the building or,
How do
in
you know?
some type of. I'm just saying, I wouldn't, in today's day and age of where we're at with player empowerment and where players have a role in decisions that are being made. I imagine that Herbert is a part of this conversation. Herbert's in a loop about the conversation. It'd be foolish to not be like that. And for the head coach too, like that's, you mentioned like what brings coaches to the Chargers. It's a picture of Justin Herbert and going, you're not going to get this with the Raiders. You're not going to get this with the Falcons. You're not going to get this with the Titans. Nowhere else you can get. Gosh darn it. Nowhere else you can get that type of opportunity.
Number 8 right there.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert's the key to that job. There's a reason why if you were to ask any coach, they'd say that's the one that I want. It's Justin Herbert is obviously the key. It's not the history of the front office or the history of anything the Chargers have done. I mean, you can't walk in by the trophy case and go, we want you, to sit there and add on to the trophies we already have. We want you to put the first trophy in this thing. It's been sitting in here full of dust since 1964. I mean, what the hell are we doing here? So, but I don't think Justin Herbert's involved in any of it. I just don't. I just don't think the Chargers operate that way now. So Justin Herbert doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that wants to be involved. I think there are a lot of quarterbacks in this league that would want to be involved in this. I don't think Justin Herbert wants to touch any of it, but he's the guy. If I'm doing the interview, I would be impressed if you could tell me, look, I this is what I know about your organization. This is what I saw in 2023. This is why I think it went wrong. This is why I think you can improve. And if you start naming guys off that roster, key pieces that I would like to keep, I always think it's important when guys know the roster. And that's one thing they even said in Atlanta about Harbaugh. He knew everybody on that roster. When he went through the interview process in Atlanta, he knew everybody on that roster. Now, let's be honest, Harbaugh's thinking, I don't want that job in Atlanta either. I would be. There's nothing there. There's no solid ground to even build upon. But to take the time and go through that roster, I think it's a big deal.
He's so not going back to Michigan. We can all agree on that, right? Like, there's no way he's going back to Michigan. No. At this point, there's no shot.
He's not going back to Michigan. He can't.
But
he can't.
I want to
go back to Michigan.
He can't go back. Let's go back to the question I asked though, Mario. Whenever you interviewed for a job like at Odyssey or wherever you've worked, don't you ask questions back to your future employer of how things are going to work? Is that part of your process?
Yes.
So if you're Jim
absolutely.
Harbaugh or any other coach, what would you ask back to the Chargers? Seriously, what would you say?
I'd bring up the cap situation and go, what's his future look like with that? What type of window are we looking at? What type of situation are we looking at with that? And what's your kind of plan with it? Because I don't want to be here for a teardown. Because a teardown that hurts my resume, that makes me look bad. And then coaches don't tank, but if the owner's trying to tank you, you're gonna tank. Brian Flores, perfect example. Variable, perfect example. Like if you take away all your pieces to win, you're not gonna win, Dave. So that would be my question back to him. Goes, where are we at with how this organization's gonna go? Where are we at with this? Because you kind of just did your tank.
You can't answer the question though without a GM, right? Like you can't even answer that question.
Yeah, but I feel like you're looking for a GM that's on the same page as you, though.
Yeah, I do
so
the
Jim
interview.
Harbaugh bring in the GM. Is that what you're saying?
He has connections to the Dodds. The Dodds or dudes, how do you say his name? The indie guy, Ed Dodds. He has connections to him.
Okay, you do any of those interviews like you're the GM. I mean, that's kind of you have to show your vision is how it goes. I mean, it's like if I'm Jim Harbaugh, I come in and go, this team right now has major cap problems. They're $42.5 million over the cap. We have to cut certain players out of here. I've gone through your games. I understand your roster. These are the guys, boom, 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 where I would cut the space if I was getting ready to coach. This is where we have to fix in the draft. This is where we have to fix in free agency. This is my plan. You give me this roster and I can win. We have to start winning right now. And I think Rabel says the same thing. If I'm Rabel, and it's funny, I've never thought of this until just 2 days ago because I listened to Derrick Henry talk. I said, look, you have major problems with the running situation. I'm willing to bring in my guy. I think we need to bring in my guy as a free agent. We established the running game we had in Tennessee, but the one thing I never had in Tennessee was a star quarterback. You give me that here with 2 wide receivers, and now we're a completely different team. Let me handle the defensive side of the ball. I've always done a great job, even without a lot of talent. But I'm the guy to sit there and make this happen. And if I'm Jim Harbaugh, I'm saying almost the same thing, but I'm saying, look at the quarterbacks I've worked with in the past. I've won 70% of my games as a head coach. Nobody has ever done that in the NFL. I was in a Super Bowl, and I'm looking forward to getting back there. And a matter of fact, to keep it between you and me, but I want to make sure I have more Super Bowl championships than my brother. It's stuck in my craw for more than 10 years, and I'm coming back to this league to be the greatest Harbaugh coach of all time. That's it.
At this point, do you think John Harbaugh is the better Harbaugh brother?
Yes.
Ooh.
You do?
I think he's easier to work with. Put it that way. From everything I've heard, I think John's easier to work with. Like if you're going
I
out to
heard a John
dinner
Harbaugh
and
story. Yeah,
go ahead.
both play mind games. I heard both Harbaugh brothers will play mind games with
Yeah,
their players, like Phil Jackson kind of thing.
yeah, exactly right.
Which,
Dog
yeah, I heard.
Wow.
Yeah, dog.
was 9.
I heard a John Harbaugh story actually. There's this guy that was a fringe player. He was a receiver. He's 218. So at the end of the season, they do their exit interview. This is John Harbaugh with the Ravens, and he says to the player, "We own your rights. The only way we're going to retain you is if you come back for training camp as a tight end." He's 218. He goes, "A tight end? I've never played tight end." He goes, "Well, you need to be a tight end if you want to be a Raven." He goes, "How much do you want me to weigh?" He goes, "At least 250."
Wow.
He says so. He has 3 months to gain 30 pounds. So he comes back at 254, and he's walking into the building, and John Harbaugh says, "You ready?" He goes, "I'm ready." He goes, "What position are you going to play?" He goes, "Tight end." He goes, "You're not going to play receiver?" He's like, "No, you said tight end." He goes, "We'll see about that." So then he gets scared. He's like, "Shoot, do I like? Well, I can't play receiver. I'm 254 pounds. I could barely move." First game, first game in preseason, he puts him at receiver to see what kind of shape he's in and test him out. I'm like, damn, dude, that is nuts. So
Oh,
the thing is, like, I don't know what makes Jim Harbaugh a great coach. Like Nick Saban, I can speak from experience because I was there and I saw him every day. Very detail oriented. He's going to work harder than everybody else. He's going to get there first. He's going to leave last. Even at his old age, he would do that. He was a defensive guru, right? Nick Saban would work with the DBs one on one. What is Jim Harbaugh's thing? Like, I know he's an offensive guy, but what makes him a great head coach? Do you have any insight on that? Have you guys heard anything about that?
my mentor, his son's in the Michigan program, is one of the trainers at Michigan, and it's very the physicality that he brings. It's a attitude of we're gonna dominate them, they're not gonna dominate us, and that's what he brings in the locker room every day. It's an intensity. It's a we're going to. This isn't a football game. This is war, and in war we win, and in war we're the most physical, we're most violent, and that's what he brings, I think, to an NFL team. And the offensive scheme obviously is something that he brings. You know, he's a quarterback in the NFL. You look at a lot of the offenses he's had, it's more run dominant. I think that's also kind of a huge thing of his. And I think the other thing is similar to Saban, very detail oriented, very on the detail, very on the dot of what he's going to build and what he wants from his guys. I'm trying to think, Dave, if like his relationships are almost good because he sleeps over at his recruit's house. So maybe his relationships are good. He actually, cuddle up with them. He doesn't cuddle up with them. But there's been stories of him spending the night at his recruit's house. So maybe it's key relations, but I feel like that's Harbaugh's recipe.
I don't know. I mean, I think he knows this game. This is all that family knows. I mean, the dad was a coach, a successful coach. I mean, this is what this family does. I mean, to the fact where his dad still goes through film to get John ready for his games with the Ravens, to get Jim ready for his games against whatever Northwestern. It doesn't matter that this is what these 3 guys do nonstop is focus on how to win. And I believe everything starts with a mindset on how successful you're going to be. He's had success. Whatever Jim's doing, it's going to translate to the Chargers. If he's the head coach of the Chargers, it's going to translate. He was able to do it again at USD. He was able to do it at Stanford. He was able to do it at the 49ers. He won a championship with Michigan. He has not failed. That's why the resume is enough. I mean, there's not a lot to ask him except, what do you see that we can do and how quickly can we make a run at a Super Bowl? That would be my big question. What do you see from our roster? What needs to be changed and how soon can we make it a run for a Super Bowl? Because we're willing to pay you a lot of money and we're willing to make a lot of changes in our organization for you, which is so weird. I don't think the Chargers at any point thought they'd have to kiss this guy's rear end when he was a quarterback for the Chargers. Like at one time, this guy's going to become the most important person on the planet to fix the Los Angeles Chargers. And that's where they're at right now. He was just a guy at the end of his career when he was with the Chargers. And then all of a sudden, this is the guy that's the savior. That's where the Chargers find themselves. It's almost like 2 different people, you know? And I'm dying to
You
know.
give me,
Go ahead.
yeah, what? Go. How he
I'm dying
feels,
to
how
know
Mario feels
from
right now?
No, I'm dying to know from Mario when you did your interview with Odyssey and they said, "What is your biggest weak point?" Did you answer the question with "I care too much"? Like, what did he say? What did he
Oh,
say?
what did I
No,
say? I'm trying to think back. So funny enough, mine was like an introduction, and then I had to create like a rundown and send it to them, and I had a meeting about the rundown if they thought it was good or not. I'm trying to think of what I honestly think my greatest weakness, I said, I always think about sports. I think that was like my thing.
Eat a dog. Eat a dog. It's number 10. Now we can ask Mara how you feeling.
How do you feel?
So around 2 dogs ago is when the stomach started to hurt.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Shoot, we should wrap this up then.
No, we got 2 more. The
You
other
only have
hard
2
part
dogs
is,
left?
yeah,
Okay.
I made 12.
Okay, good.
The hard part is I couldn't have been more wrong about the seasoning. I told Josh before the show I thought that was my smart move. Boy, did that backfire. I mean, boy, did that backfire. Really backfire. Like, my mouth is on freaking fire. So, that's a rookie mistake. Yeah. Stomach hurts. Probably going to start farting here in a little bit. So, I'm going to probably stick up the apartment. So, that's good. So,
Open the window. It's only 1 degree outside.
yeah. Left the heater on last night, too. Woke up around like 2 in the morning. Found that one out. I was wondering why it smelled like crazy in my apartment. I'm like, whoa. Oh.
Chargers. Jeez. Chargers would have the 3rd best head coach quarterback duo in the NFL, right? You put them behind Reed and Mahomes, Harbaugh and Jackson, I would say right now. And then I'd put Harbaugh and Herbert would be 3rd best in the NFL.
Yeah. I agree.
You agree with that?
I would.
There's nobody else. I'm not putting McDermott, Allen, McCarthy, Prescott. None of those are better than what we would have in a head coach and quarterback duo. When was the last time the Chargers ever had a dominant head coach quarterback duo? Schottenheimer, Rivers? I mean, I'd take Harbaugh, Herbert over Schottenheimer,
Me
Rivers.
Me too.
Do you guys want to pick divisional games?
Yeah, let's do
Yeah,
this.
I'm gonna
ready.
join in this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. NFL divisional round, ladies and gentlemen. Strap in. It's a couple weeks left in the NFL season. Big spreads this week, gentlemen. We'll start off with the Houston Texans. They travel to Baltimore, face the Baltimore Ravens. Shout out the wire. Ravens are 9.5-point favorites in this one against CJ Stroud and the Young Boys. What do you guys think here?
I think Texans covered. That's too many points. I watch a lot of baseball playoffs with Dave and watch the Dodgers fail every year. The biggest issue with the Dodgers, I think, is because they usually sit out the first round and then they can't catch up in the second round for the team that just played. And I feel like sitting out a week, even though your body rests in the NFL, the Texans just played. They're going to bring it. I don't think they get blown out in this game. I think they're going to cover.
I'm going to go opposite of Josh. I'm going to go Ravens. I think in the NFL, it works different than baseball. It's not like you have to get your timing down. I think the Ravens are going to be healthy. Still a chance Mark Andrews plays in this game. But I'm going with the Ravens in this one.
Okay.
Lamar Jackson in the playoffs, not great. Averages barely a passing touchdown, over 1 interception, pass rating 68.3. Give me the Texans to cover. They have literally nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. I do think under in this game, too.
What's the over under?
Yeah.
Over under is 43.5. I think it's going to go way under.
Okay. By the way, that game is on West Coast time, 1:30 ESPN game. People are trying to keep track of these games. So they're all over the place this weekend.
All right. Let's go Packers, Niners. Big spread, 2 in this one. Niners are 9.5-point favorites against the Packers. Over under 50.5. What do you think, Josh?
I actually do think the Niners cover on this one.
Good dog.
The reason why, and I know I just said that the team that sits out can't catch up. I just do not think Jordan Love does that 2 weeks in a row. Like, amazing performance by him. I think he shocked everybody. But doing it twice and then doing it in Santa Clara against the 49ers, that's just so tough. I do like the 49ers in a blowout.
I'm going with Josh as well. I'm going 49ers, rooting for the Packers, but I'm going for the Niners. If you look at the history, we said last week, the Packers always own the Cowboys in the playoffs or postseason. The Packers stink in San Francisco. Always have. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is, man. They have a trouble in San Francisco. I'm going 49ers.
How dare you say you're cheering for the Green Bay Packers?
Yeah,
What are you
I
doing
just
with
did.
your life?
I just did.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, listen, it's I like Niners. I looked at this game. I immediately thought of Kyle Shanahan when he embarrassed Matt LaFleur when he had Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay
Dog.
and it was snowing. Well, I thought of that one, and I go, it's 100% Niners all the way. So give me the Niners actually to cover. Jordan Love comes back down to earth.
Okay.
Um.
That's it for the Saturday game. So 2 more on Sunday.
Mhm.
Okay. Just trying to get people up to date. That game again is 5 o'clock Pacific time on Fox.
Bucks, Lions. Lions 6.5-point favorites at home. Guys, by the way, Detroit has a dome. Please remember that. Detroit 6.5-point favorites, like I said, over under 40.5. This is
Hold on a
at
second. Stop right there real quick. When that girl made the point about how bad the weather is in Detroit, did you feel bad for her, or where were your feelings on it?
I think Todd Bowles could have been less of a jerk on that one. And I'm not, I don't think what he said was wrong at all because he was just like, what? Like, he's not wrong for saying that, but I would have been like, they play in a dome. Like, I wouldn't have done it the way he did it. I don't know.
For
Maybe I'm
50
just being
years.
sensitive.
For 50
Yeah.
years,
Would
they
you have,
played in a
what
dome.
would you have said back to her? Would you have done it the way Todd Bowles did it?
I think I would have been so shocked by the question. I think I would have said, boy, I don't know. I think I would have straight out just said, we aren't worried about it. The game's indoors.
Yeah,
I
like
would have
that.
embarrassed her. But if it was somebody I knew and didn't like in the media, I 100% would have embarrassed the hell out of them. Like, where you been? Like, how did you get
Yeah.
credentialed? If it was
Yeah,
somebody I
how'd you
didn't
get a
like.
credential?
But the fact I just kept thinking I've been part of those deals, and then she has to turn around and face the rest of the people in that room where everybody knew the answer and go, oh my God, you're like, what do? You just want to crawl into a hole. That is so embarrassing. It's the second most embarrassing question I've ever heard in the media, and the first one happened right here in San Diego was when it was the Washington Redskins at the time taking on the Denver Broncos in 1988. And some reporter asked Doug Williams, how long have you been a black quarterback? And that was embarrassing as hell. He's like, my whole life. And just looked at and everyone was like, oh my God, why would you ask that question? Like, what? For 10 years? I mean, what's his answer supposed to be? It was ridiculous.
I did a little media stuff like that for Dave and the Chargers a few years back. Those people are brutal that ask the questions. Like, they are sometimes pretty mean to each other. So when somebody steps on it like that, they're not nice to them at all. I would love if there was a camera facing the reporters and you could just see what their reactions were when she asked that question. But you got to get your credential removed, or I don't know how that works, but how can you ask that question and have that job? It's insane.
That's my problem is who prepped. Like, someone had to prep her. Like, so there had to be some type of help in putting that together. Someone had to run by the question. Like, she had to run by the questions by someone. If Todd Bowles was in like New York, it was like Robert Salah, who just gets absolutely killed by the New York media like every time he steps up to the podium. I would get like being a little bit extra of a jerk back because I'd be like, oh, this is my moment. Like, all I get is sit up here and get peppered by you, and you come up with this bull crap question. Now I'm gonna come at you. If that was me, I think I would like laugh and be like, you maybe do a double take there, but Detroit's in a dome, and I would just moved on. And like, if I was talking about this with someone today too, if whoever asked it, I don't know who it was or what their name is, turn that into a bit, turn that into content as fast as you can. That's the best way to get over it. Play into the joke and move on. The more you kind of, I don't know, this might be the non-professional opinion, but the more you kind of like, I guess, shy away from or apologize for it, I think that doesn't really work out that well. I think, dude, just lean into it. Make it more of a joke, and everyone laughs, moves on.
Do you think somebody set her up, meaning that people she worked for set her up to have her ask that question?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Doesn't it look bad on you?
Well, as you said, someone had to, her editor, someone had to say, hey, here are the questions you're going to ask. Weather's a factor. I mean, I'm guessing that's such a reach, so crazy. It was awful. It was bad. And for anyone who's a diehard football fan, especially if you're a Lions fan and you're thinking, I would do anything to get to this game, to know that she has a credential to go to the game over you is very frustrating. To go, you got to be kidding me.
I also think
She
about
doesn't
like
even care.
the young journalist that's like trying to get in there. Like I imagine someone got that over someone else and they heard that question and you're like, are you freaking kidding me? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because like you said, it's a cutthroat business and it's cutthroat to get in there.
Yeah. All right, dude. Got to eat a dog. Number
All right, last
12.
one, gentlemen.
That's the last one.
Number 12.
I'm impressed, dude. You're a gamer. When's the
They're
next time
gonna
we're
be
going to have a
done.
hot dog after this? When's the next time we're going to have a hot dog after this?
Like never. I've already let 2 go, by the way, and it smells terrible.
Oh, I'm glad you're in Chicago.
Yeah.
Good Lord. All right.
And it's really cold.
Let's pick these games. Let's pick the last 2. We'll get out of here. I'm feeling
All
going to
right.
get sick.
Well, last one. Chiefs, Bills.
No,
Wait,
we didn't pick
I
the
only
Lions.
picked the last game.
Oh, we didn't pick it. All right. Go ahead, guys.
We didn't give us any information.
I literally said Lions 6.5 twice.
Closer than 6.5. I think Bucks cover. I think it's going to come down at the end.
You know what? It's funny. I was rooting for the Lions the whole time, just because we said the very first game of the year when the Lions played the Chiefs, how impressed all of us were and what a great story. But a couple things have happened at the Lions. I'm not so sure. I think I'm rooting for the Bucks, but I think the Lions actually cover. I'm going with it. I know they played last week, but I'm going to go with the Lions. I don't know if you guys saw the whole thing with C.J. Gardner Johnson calling out Baker Mayfield. Did you catch
Yep.
this?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, it was fantastic, dude. About how talented the receivers are for the Buccaneers, and that Baker Mayfield is a basically below average quarterback. And Baker Mayfield, man, played it fantastic, just stayed calm. And he goes, that guy's a hell of a player, but Russell Gage hasn't played for us the entire year,
Yeah.
hasn't taken one snap. So maybe if he watches a little bit more film, he might be even that much better of a player than. Did he completely called him out for not knowing his team? Like, this is your job to know the team. And he doesn't know the Tampa Bay Buccaneer wide receivers, and the game's 2 days away. It's awesome.
Say what you want about Baker Mayfield, Dave and Josh. He's a hell of a trash talker. Like,
He
he
is
can
good.
really
Oh, yeah.
spit it back at you.
Can't run from the cops for anything, but he's a hell of a trash talker. Dude, when he got tackled by the cops against that brick wall, how embarrassing was that? Like, dude, you're a Heisman Trophy winner. You couldn't run the police? What the hell?
Dinged him in the combine. Can't skip the pressure.
I'm going Lions. So Josh has the Buccaneers. Mara, you break the tie.
I go Bucks. Lions can't stop the pass. I think Bucks will try to throw it all over. I think they can keep it inside of 6. How weird would it be, by the way, if the worst division in football, the winner goes to the championship, the NFC championship? That'd be pretty crazy. Pretty crazy.
It would be crazy.
Next one, Chiefs Bills in Buffalo. Bills 2.5-point favorites. And remember, guys, in the first matchup, it was the Kadarius Toney lining up off sides. So who has more of a revenge factor in this one, Chiefs or the Bills?
It's the Bills.
Bills do.
Bills have the bigger
Yeah.
revenge factor. Josh Allen got ripped off. Josh Allen had as many touchdown passes this year as Patrick Mahomes. Had 15 more rushing touchdowns than Patrick Mahomes. Doesn't make the Pro Bowl. Mahomes makes the Pro Bowl, just living off of his past. Josh Allen is the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo playing in Buffalo, that Pat Mahomes is playing his first road playoff game of his career. Man, I'm rooting for the Bills in this game more than any other game in our schedule. None of them are going to bother me, win or loss, except this one. This is what I want to see. I really want to see the Bills do major damage to the Chiefs.
If you're a Charger fan, how do you not root for the Bills with everything you have? You don't want the Chiefs to win this game. You need the Bills to win, and the Bills need to beat the Chiefs just to get over that hump. Ever since the Al Qaeda reference, they've been on fire, and I think they're going to continue it this weekend. Bills are going to cover.
So the over under in this one is 45.5. I actually really like the under in this. I bet the under already. I just don't think the Bills offense. If Gabriel Davis did not practice again today, Stephon Diggs has not even been close to himself. The Chiefs secondary is pretty tough, so I think the game's gonna go under. 2017 last game, so it's gonna be pretty low scoring game, especially it's gonna be in the cold. I'll go Bills just because of that dummy play caller, Matt Nagy. At some point, the real Matt Nagy is going to show up again. And when he shows up, the Bills are going to clap on him. So give me the Bills in this one. I'm with you guys. I'm cheering so hard for Buffalo. So hard for Buffalo. I really want to see how far they can go. I love Josh Allen so much. So take a Buffalo. And my stomach's about to explode.
Okay, real quick, just to run down for the people trying to watch the games. Ravens Texans ESPN game, 49ers Packers Fox game, Lions Bucks NBC game, Bills Chiefs is a CBS game. Okay, are we doing shows after? Are we doing shows on Tuesday?
That's a good
What do
question.
you guys? Yeah,
I can go
Oh.
Sunday night. You guys want to go Sunday night?
I go Sunday night.
Okay, we'll do it. We'll go after all the games and get an idea as we get a little bit closer to the Super Bowl. Mario, man, you're a trooper, dude. You did it. A
Yeah.
lot of people write to me and say, I'm really worried for, actually, they said they're worried for me because I thought I was going to lose. Like they're worried about the sodium and the emergency room and everything else. Like this is a bad business decision. But you did it, man. You didn't even claim
Yeah.
it like hot. You knocked down 12 in an hour. You did good.
Yeah. Yeah. It truly wasn't that bad until you hit about 7. That's when the tummy hurts. But no, we did it. We're here. If you live up to our punishments here on not Bedford, for Bold City, it's been a pleasure. And hopefully I never have to do that again because that actually was really painful and I really, really do have to poop.
Okay, we'll let you go then. All right.
Yeah,
So again,
yeah.
if you listen to the show, Bolt City Podcast through Odyssey app, we thank you very much. And if you watch it on YouTube, we thank you. And again, I appreciate your comments that you guys always leave on there. Also, your prediction. We're curious to know, who do you like in the 4 games? Curious to know what you think happens the following weekend after this weekend is over. So we'll look at your comments and we'll be back doing a show after the final game on Sunday. So for Mario Heron, Josh Pele, I'm Dave Pele. We'll see you next time.